How's it going, everybody? Marc Lozano here, Christ Center Capital. I wanted to talk today about the whole Elon Musk Twitter saga and why it really matters. So, what I do here as a moral analyst for investors, for Judeo Christian investors, is I'm constantly looking at all of the different companies and assets and everything and trying to find assets that are in alignment with Judeo Christian conservative values. It's a really hard job because there are so few of them. And the reason there are so few of them is because there are a handful of companies, a handful of organizations and firms that control everything, right? When you look at consumer goods, for example, there are, we'll say, 6 to 11 companies that control everything, right? So everything you go to when you go shop at Walmart or any big box store or grocery store, you are going to be buying something most likely from one of these like handful of companies. And here I have the list right here. We can show it. So you got Coca-Cola, Unilever, PepsiCo, Kellogg's, Mars, General Mills, Procter and Gamble, Nestle, Johnson and Johnson. These companies, if you're going to a box store, you're probably buying from one of these companies. Like Oreos, not its own brand. M&M's, not its own brand. Cheetos, not its own brand. Gatorade and all of this stuff. None of them are their own brands. If you're buying from if you're buying at a box store, you're buying from one of these companies. And sadly, all of these companies, not all of these. If you're looking at the big ones, Procter and Gamble, Coca-Cola, Unilever, PepsiCo, they all fail the C3 ethical screening process. Nestle's not terrible. Like they actually get a passable score from us. Some of these we actually haven't had pop up on our radar in a while. Johnson & Johnson gets a terrible score from us. Kellogg's gets a terrible score from us. But here's the thing. When you have everything being controlled by just a handful of companies, that's a big problem because there's really no true diversity in thought and principle and morals. And this makes what Christ Center Capital does, I think, very valuable, but also very difficult. Because when we're looking for assets that we can actually give a stamp of approval on, they're just few and far between. And it's because so many companies and so much of what we buy and invest in and all that good stuff, they're controlled by just so few organizations. Now, when we start talking about like the whole Elon Musk Twitter saga here, it matters because if you go outside of those consumer goods and you go to like technology and big tech and everything, we all know that the Google, Apple, Twitter, Amazon, like they control everything, right? Well, Elon is kind of threatening them because he's got this potential, he's got this ability to start gaining control on a major tech platform. I like his approach better. If you have the money to do it, instead of creating your own, buy out the people who already have something established, right? And unfortunately, he's used, not unfortunately, but he's using the tactic that a lot of these organizations I just talked about are using. So when a mom and pop soap company gets too big, they're going to get $100 million offer from a Procter and Gamble or a Unilever to buy them out because Unilever, Procter and Gamble, Coca-Cola, they don't want those mom and pop soap companies or soda companies or whatever to get shelf space at the big box stores. They're going to create a wall against them to make sure that they're not able to get out. And they do that for obvious reasons. It would hurt their profit margins, so they're going to buy them out. And like everyone talks about, what's the company? Tom's Maine, right? And he was real family-owned guy. I'm not sure if you guys know what Tom's Maine is. This might be completely irrelevant, but if you do know what they were a family-owned company, and they got up and everything, and they had a big rise, and they actually got some shelf space and everything. They got bought out by, I believe, oh man, it's escaping me right now. They got bought out by, was it Procter and Gamble? It might have been. Don't quote me on that. But they got bought out, and they're essentially owned by one of these like 11 or 6 or 11 companies. And when we start looking at how we invest our capital, how do we get to have something that is not controlled by these powers that be? When you're trying to look for something that's not controlled by meta platforms, Amazon, Google, one of these companies listed on the screen here, or not controlled by BlackRock or one of these major investment firms, you're not going to find anything. And the things that you do find are they're needles in a haystack. And Elon Musk kind of flipped the switch here. He said, all these people are always buying out the mom and pops or the organizations that are on the rise so they can make sure that they are staying in control, right? Well, Elon Musk was like, oh, well, I can go in, buy the majority share of Twitter, make them an offer and everything, and buy them out. And instead of creating my own new social media platform, instead of doing the things that are just so hard to do that we've seen where the Amazons, Apples, and Googles stop those endeavors, because they have the power to do so because they're so big. So I really appreciate what Elon Musk tried to do. The unfortunate part here is that he's probably not going to succeed due to the poison pill. And if for those of you who don't know, like a poison pill is when an organization that is threatened by a hostile takeover, they are going to put a stipulation in where essentially, this is a very dumbed down version, but essentially they're going to allow every one of their shareholders to buy stock at half the price and dilute their own stock, but the person trying to do the hostile takeover will have to buy at full price. So it's kind of a weird method, but it does work against hostile takeovers. It's a historically proven test method to kind of combat those hostile takeovers. Now, I would hope and pray for Elon Musk's success here. And I'm not a huge fan of Tesla or anything. I mean, Tesla gets a passable rating from C3, but nothing that we would actually give our gold stamp of approval on. But he has voiced concerns for like free speech and everything, so he can definitely be an ally in this fight to kind of like take back the culture. I think he can be a true ally. I don't think he's going to be able to do it with Twitter, but he's kind of proven me wrong before in the past on the things that he's been able to do, so I'm not counting him out. And one thing that I want to leave you guys with before I close today, and I'm sorry, I know I'm always all over the place with the YouTube videos, and I appreciate you guys sticking with me, but when we're looking through companies and we're going through that curation process every other 2 weeks, because here at C3 we do the curation process every 2 to 3 weeks, see what's being recommended by the market, put it into our report, apply the moral analysis, and try to do that hard research work for you guys so you can know what investments are timely from a financial perspective, but also what investments are aligned with those Judeo-Christian values. Now, that job is so hard because, like I keep saying, the majority of the investable assets, the majority of companies are controlled by the few. And those few cater to secular, left-wing, woke ideologies that are very anti-Christian, very anti-Judeo-Christian, very anti-conservative. And the way that we can take back the culture, the way that we can truly influence the culture for our kids and for future generations coming up, is taking action with our money. That's why we started Christ-Centered Capital. That's why I've highlighted organizations like Second Vote and Inspire Investments, and there's other organizations out there. Go check out Patriot Switch. Go check out, Public Square, like some great organizations that are truly in this fight, because we know that rioting in the street and protesting, it has its place, but it's to enact a lasting change, take action with your dollars, because that's where it hurts the organizations that have the control the most. Because Amazon, Twitter, like these companies, they don't care about any specific set of morals. They care about what's going to increase their bottom line. And if we start investing in a way that's aligned with our Christian values, with our conservative values, then these companies are going to take notice. And so I appreciate what Elon Musk is doing. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think being able to take control of Twitter is going to be something that's feasible because of the Twitter enacting the poison pill and because of a couple different things that are going on. But it's something that we should all take notice of. And if we feel passionate about our values, we should. It's a lot easier for Elon Musk to do because he's a billionaire, but we should put our money where our mouth is, right? But that's all I got for you today. Thanks for listening. As always, sorry for rambling, but I appreciate you being here. And please go sign up at Christ Center Capital. You know, newsletter is completely free. Get some timely market information. I always tell people the newsletter way better than these YouTube videos. I don't know why you would want to listen to me ramble when you can get all the information very concisely there. But hey, I still appreciate the views. And if you want to like, subscribe, comment, appreciate that too. God bless. Have a great day.